their responsibility, that we should see to it they're getting it done.
Right.
So, we'll add that, and then, do you want to add, talking about that pipeline stuff some more?
No, not necessarily, not for,
Okay.
not really.
Okay. Anybody got anything else you want to?
Well, as long as Jan's coming down, and we've talked about it, she's reluctant to, you know, I've brought this up 2-3 years. Do we want to go down the road as far as assessing and or taxing these farms that have businesses on them? She's reluctant to do it because she, you know, and Vanguard could do it, but they're a ways out.
That's a discussion we've had before, we should bring it up again.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's some inequity there right now, you know, but.
Well, this guy's making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's right.
Should be a little bit more responsible.
Well, and then I'm gonna stand up for Alchin there, and proceed, that's taxed. And a farmer over here sells seed, and it's not. It's a
Well, I don't sell much, you know.
What's that?
I don't sell much, so why bother me?
And if he doesn't sell much, he won't have much equipment, and he won't get taxed much.
Right.
But, and there's more of them than you'd think. Jana had a list the other,
Surprising.
2 years ago. Jana has a list. There's more than you think.
There's lots of them.
Well, a lot of it you can go by looking at the state sales tax. If they had to file a state sales tax, they're in business.
Yeah, but there's not sales tax on seed.
I agree with you. John is kind of an authority on that, and that'd be a good discussion.
All right, we shouldn't discuss it now, but we should bring that up when
Okay,
she comes down.
let's add that with John, and then.
The other
bring
thing
that
I
up.
was wondering is, do we want to visit budgets again? Have people bring their financials in?
That's on here.
Okay,
That's on
okay.
You're talking there, yeah.
Each of the committees or subdivisions.
Right.
We'll bring that up, it's on here. Anything else anybody have?
I do have to leave at 11 o'clock today. I'm just letting you know. I gotta get somebody.
Well, the way this looks, if we crack it, we
Okay,
should be
okay.
close.
I'm just letting you know.
Yep. Okay, the regular minutes, everybody have a chance to read through those? Any changes, questions, thoughts? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept those.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Stan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian M. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Anything out of the ordinary on the timesheets there, Brian or Dan?
The only element that's a concern has to do with Sheriff's Department, and it comes up from time to time. They're supposed to have a minimum of 160 hours. That's a full-time employee. And for the last couple of months, there's an employee that's been sub 150, yet has stone garden hours on the side. And maybe it's just a conversation as a portfolio holder to say, just a reminder, you need to have the 160. It's not my job to tell them what to do, but there's an element of being a full-time employee that needs to be met for the benefits that you receive. And so it's just a reminder.
Yeah, let me get this. Where's the 160 hours coming in? Is that in our policies or what?
Well, it's basic math. To be a full-time employee, you would be right around 160, and because those guys are 40-hour-a-week people, it just makes sense that 160 is what you should have as a minimum. And
They're only doing 150.
yeah, I mean, it's not far off. I've seen 154, 157. You could look at it right now. You're at the sheets here. We're really, really close. And it's only one employee, but what's the difference, one or all of them? This one's 151, but then there's 14 hours of stone garden on there, so not only are you a full-time employee, you get paid $700 in stone garden hours as well. Really and truly, 9 of those hours technically but you might think it's a minor thing, but this is a thing that continues to persist. It's just something you want to be mindful of.
Well, yeah, I guess I have a question for Chris when he comes in too about that. Because Rispa, over Christmas, was telling me he was at Uptown one day. You know, he's good with PR.
Very good.
You know, and he was saying, well, this is his 4th shift in a row, and he was taking the other guy that lives in Harvey's. I'm taking his shifts because he wanted to be home with his family, so I'm just taking his. How's that work?
And and there is no quote unquote overtime for those guys.
No.
With the exception of any stone garden hours that you would work.
Right.
Those, technically, they're not overtime, but they act as such.
Right.
But you shouldn't be accessing those until you have met your minimum.
Right. Okay.
Well, we can discuss it. Is Chris coming in today?
Those people.
We can take that as part of the discussion. You know, it's like, our other departments, when people are gone a lot, is that any different?
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to serving way above and beyond, most people would say, kudos for you, okay, not getting paid any extra, but when you start thinking about what if something happens when you're on the job, and if they can show that fatigue is a reason why you made a poor decision or bad judgment, whatever the case is, that kind of puts you on the liability hook as county for allowing them to work those kinds of hours. So
Right.
you kind of have to.
Yeah, you can work both ways.
I know it. That's my point, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else on timesheets?
No.
Okay, the bills. Everybody have a chance to go through all that?
There's one that NDACO resource group, what's that entail, the
Expensive.
34,000?
That's probably,
It says yearly support.
Association of Counties, do you
That's
pay
all right.
them?
it's your fees essentially, and it's based on your size of your county and the various employees that you have and so on. It's a standard deal. NDACO obviously does an awful lot for all 53 counties in the state of North Dakota. So while they're not cheap, they're not free.
That's basically our annual
Yeah.
dues.
It's your
Annual
annual
dues
dues.
for Aaron Burst and that group.
And, speaking what you just mentioned, there's a lot of resources there that we sometimes could use that we don't.
Right.
We should keep that in mind, I guess.
Right.
Especially this year.
There's times, Dan, you reached out to me.
Oh, they do an outstanding service for counties. They compile all kinds of information and data. They will, if you reach out to them with a question, they will get back to you. It's a very professional organization, I will say that.
Yeah, they got some top-notch people in there.
Well, upcoming, they're the lobbyists for the county, so.
Yeah. And,
That's
this
important.
particular year with what's gonna be going on, the property tax and all that, we definitely probably need to stay in tune with them.
And if you could get all 12 months of the year to do that level of bills, you'd be all happy campers. But that won't be the case. So
Really?
Yeah.
that's the lowest level of bills.
Well, yeah, that wasn't bad. $100,000.
Any other questions on it?
That was the only one.
Okay. If there are any other questions, I'd entertain a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion.
Brian M. and Boone second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, the balance sheet.
Okay.
That wasn't so bad.
Obviously, taxes have started to come in, which is why you see a spike there in collections. Couple of things I want to point you towards. Obviously, you still have the two negatives on there, although they improved a little bit with revenue coming in between the two of them. If you look at things like, I'm struggling to find LATCF on here, but it should be zero. It's zeroed out, of course.
What are you looking for?
LATCF. I can't even find it on here. Doesn't matter, but it's zeroed out. We use that money obviously for the window projects and so on and so forth.
Oh, okay.
The other area that you see zeroed out is COVID relief. The rest of that was transferred for payment of salary and benefits throughout 2024, so that's a zero now. And then beyond that, all of those ones down at the bottom, you know, we're getting ready to make payment to all those political subdivisions in February, with the exception of schools. Schools get paid every month. The rest of them get paid 4 times a year, and that is what we intend to do with the Harvey Library as well, is we'll just pay them 4 times a year, same time when we pay the townships and so on and so forth. So all of that money down below, obviously you see school districts 1.177 million, 340,000 in cities. That is not money that's staying in Wells County. That'll get shipped out to those political subs.
Yeah.
So other than that, with the exception of the road department and so on, and then I guess you got to throw in county agent with that. The only negative balances that we have, and hopefully we'll start to see that road piece come down rather than continue to escalate. But
That's another one of our tough decisions.
there's one element there that's going to keep tugging, and you and I spoke about that on the phone the other day, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on here in the course of the meeting when Brent is here.
So, with us not having a county agent, what's with the numbers there like that?
Well, and that's not really going to have much of an impact on this, because that person will be an NDSU employee, and while you do pay half the salary, it comes in terms of a bill. But these are just expenditures that they've incurred, not any time recently, over the course of the last couple of years, that are just above and beyond their budget.
Wow.
And so that's not something that's just cropped up here in the last couple of months. That's been an ongoing issue for a couple of years. So you will see some savings, but at the same time, you're also not getting a service. So I'm not sure if they've got any applicants or anything. Maybe you have some insight.
No, I haven't.
I think that's coming sometime in January. I talked to her one day.
Dana comment.
Yep, and there's something coming in January.
Okay.
She's trying to line some people up.
So
Is
you're about to embark on the time of year, January, February, March, where your balance sheet's gonna look crazy good. And then you
I was gonna ask now, this 7.2 million is at the end of the year. Do you have any idea what it is today? Probably $1 million more than that.
No, but obviously you're gonna have the vast majority of your taxes paid after Christmas. So it's
Right.
gonna really
And
start to spike.
right before the first of the year.
And
that's
if
what
you
I'm
looked at the collections here, that's a considerable amount of money, but nowhere near what the collections will be. But then you also have to take into account the bottom half of that sheet.
Right,
That
it all
money
goes
just
out.
goes right back out the door.
So what about, like, the fire departments, when does that get paid?
They get paid 4 times a year.
4 times a
Same
year.
as the townships, ambulances.
First one, in February.
Yeah. February, March, July, and November. And February and March back-to-back months, just because there's so much revenue coming in this time of the year. And then when the revenue really slows down, the payment, July and November are just whatever is collected out there.
Back to county agent, is there a big shortage in the state?
Well, she's had it on the docket, and she's gotten a lot of foreign people from other countries. And they're not gonna pursue that because, or that's what's the story, because they're just Well, people are looking, they see job, you know,
Yeah.
and if they got the credentials, or can get them, you know, however they're gonna do it, to make it look good. She was gonna be very, very selective.
However, you take your medical fields and stuff, there's a lot of foreign that are filling those jobs.
Well, I realize that, but what she's saying is a lot of these people were just doing it to come to a job they didn't really
Weren't
have
qualified
experience, and, I mean, they made it look that way.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a year or so ago, there were really quite a few applicants that were recent grads out of SU.
Yeah.
So,
That's
that
what they're waiting
area,
for, that's why she's waiting till January, because she's gonna see the December
the
one.
semester, the
There's some that
December
graduated in December.
But the problem is a lot of those can become an agronomist for
Yeah.
twice the amount of money and,
Right, right.
you know.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of job availabilities in ag. There's just a crazy number of jobs available, so.
And if you have that degree,
And some pretty good jobs,
yeah,
too.
you can go a lot of directions with it.
Any other questions on the balance sheet? If not, I entertain a motion for that. Accept it.
So moved.
By Brian L.,
Second.
second by Brian M. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, what do we got? The bank CDs and investments?
Actually, I think pledge securities is next, and don't need a motion for this, just a consensus that it is adequate. And if you look at all three banks and look at that sheet of stuff, it is all acceptable in terms of meeting our needs at this point in time. So is there a consensus that the pledged securities are adequate to cover county deposits?
I think,
Yeah.
I have to reiterate this, is this was a great deal. You know, years ago, we didn't invest this stuff. This is very, very helpful.
Well, for years, the interest rates were zero, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah,
But this helps keep track of the money too,
Yeah.
somewhat.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And where it goes and where it comes, where it's supposed to go.
you know, every little runs a little is better than nothing.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's a source of income now.
And since we're at a point now to look at those certificates of deposit, you'll see that one of them had a renewal date of 2 days ago. So we're in the process of re-upping that First State Bank CD that's $477,000, and we will be taking additional financial resources and investing that as well. In addition, when our prairie dog funds come, which should be in March, if not sooner, but just basic math tells me it'll probably be in March, we will immediately invest at least half of that. The other half, obviously, is waiting for that Hamburg project and what happens there, which I assume will be about $1 million deal.
2 miles of road.
Yep.
Crazy, but, okay, we don't need a motion on these.
No, so when you look at this and you see $2.283 million there, that is kind of our low water mark all the time.
Okay.
It'll be higher than that next
Next
month.
Okay. Very good.
And then I guess the only thing you do have to do is to approve Laura and I to purchase or cash out CDs and so on and so forth.
Is there a motion for that?
So moved. Motion.
Boone made motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Brian L. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And then the last thing there is the funds controlled by the commission. So this is a little better than last month, obviously, because of that money that's rolling in, but there is still $161,484 and change left in your House Bill 1066, which they allow us to carry over. So that'll be the first dollars that we spend on any kind of infrastructure or project, et cetera, because we want to get those off the books. I did have to file a report right at Thanksgiving showing them what we've done with the money, and then they let you have a space in there for anything that was not yet spent. If you couldn't do that, it would come out of your hide the next time around. So ours shows that we spent it all, even though there is amount waiting to be allocated to a project that we're already into. Your general fund is up over $4.25 million. You still have that $1 million noose around your neck from the road department. COVID relief is at 0. Federal aid road, that's never going to really go up anymore. The only thing that would make that go up is anybody that's paying taxes. We don't have that anymore. Highway tax sits at 95.
So why have we got that listed? We don't have it.
Because you have to keep it, because there's gonna be a trickling of funds for at least another year or so yet from people who never
Someone
paid
paid
their
their taxes from 4 years ago, and then it was a
Yeah.
bill.
And then LATCF, which is at 0, and I couldn't even find it on the balance sheet anymore, so that one is probably gone. That's not to say that we won't ever get those funds again, but those were gift funds that were just handed to us.
The Highway 5 project, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here. All the bills are paid for that?
I don't think so.
It was last month now.
I spoke to.
Engineering, there was none on there.
I spoke to them lately, and I still think there's a couple of punch card things that have to get solved, and I'm sure we're still gonna get a bill or two. I'm sure of it. So, and whether that comes first or the Hamburg project comes first, those will be paid out of that $161,000 that's on the top line. So right now, you take off the money that's in CDs, that leaves at your disposal $1.367 million. But that will go up, but don't go getting all starry-eyed, anything like
No
that.
new pickups for you
No, but I encourage you to be as aggressive as possible, because you're gonna get another influx of taxes on the middle of February. So I'd be as aggressive as you can be as far as putting this money in savings.
And I guess I'm probably, just from the liquidity standpoint, going to maybe inquire a little bit more about money market as opposed to CDs.
Yeah.
Because you can pull that out whenever, however,
guys. It might be a better deal.
and the rates there are actually pretty decent. They're not as high as they were, but they're not bad. They're in the 4s.
CDs aren't as high as they were either, so in turn, right,
No, so
So you got something of each, you got some on each.
you can do a beach, yeah.
I mean, we've got some in there already, and if you do some money market with another one, we got.
Well, and in emergencies, it's
Right,
easier to.
right, exactly.
right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I know Brent's come in, but refresh my memory, for County 5, that Hamburg deal, we have Wold Engineering working on that one, right?
correct.
2 miles, I think.
Yep.
Hamburg Slough area.
Okay.
And that will end up being a complete rebuild of that road. That's not a overlay,
Right.
because
No.
there's no pavement left there anymore.
There's no
It's
overlay.
gonna be a complete,
For that 2 miles, they can haul heavy.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was where the headache was, you
Yeah,
know, it was mush.
well, and hopefully that gets straightened out, because that's a bog, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, so, any other questions on funds control? All right, moving on.
The only thing with correspondence, and both of these are in your packet there, there is a Garrison Diversion Matching Recreation Grant Program. So what I will do with that is I will send that out to each of the cities that have a park board, which I believe is Sykeston, Bowden, Hertzfield, Harvey, and Besnan, and just essentially put it in their court. Gives them an opportunity to go out and get up to $75,000. I think they have to be able to match it, but whatever that is. But I'll send that out to them. And the other part is something that you're already aware of. This just provides an agenda for the local government capital connection, which is coming up in February. And you'll have to let me know if any of you are deciding to attend that. If you're deciding to go for 1 day or 2 days, obviously it makes a difference, and then I'll take care of your arrangements and so on and so forth.
I
if
think
that's the
this would
case.
be a good year to do this.
Very important.
Right.
So. And that is it on the correspondence, and it would be my recommendation we move on to Janet.
I got one quick 5-second deal, and I get this in an email, probably because I was chairman last year. There's a pipeline, North Dakota Pipeline Association, and there's a workshop, and you get any of this? Anybody else get any of that?
Send in the emails.
What's that?
In Carrington?
Yeah, in Carrington, coming up, January 13th, one-day thing, 3 hours. Maybe we should bring this up to Brent when he comes in, that someone really should attend that, or look at it.
For him, that would be important,
Well, one of us, too.
but I mean,
Yeah.
especially because of what's been going on with the pipeline so far.
So Dan, you did not get,
I haven't seen
sometimes I get stuff, but, like what you just went over here, the local government thing, I got that as chairman, and I got the Garrison Diversion one as chairman, so I didn't know.
Well, and it covers damage prevention, which is one of the
Oh, yeah,
concerns.
I mean, it's kind of pertinent too.
Give that to Dan, look it over. What's the date on that again?
It's coming up.
January 13th?
Yep, January 13th, 6 PM.
6
Duration
p.m.?
120 minutes.
Well, it's in the
Chieftain Conference Center.
It's in the evening.
Yep, 6 PM, duration 120 minutes.
Next Monday?
We should check right now. Does anybody think they could go to that?
What day of the week is that?
Next
Monday.
Monday.
That's Monday.
Talk about it when Brent comes in.
Okay.